Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. Hope you all had a great weekend and came back with all your fingers after the 4th of July. I am home today. The kids are here, no babysitter. So just want to forewarn, there could potentially be interruptions, but I think I got them sidetracked and we'll keep them that way for the next less than an hour. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Epstein files and get through some other headlines, but that's the big news. I would say the biggest headline from, the last, not just the weekend, but the last 24 hours really. And I'm kind of surprised by the reactions from everybody. That's what I want to talk about. But before we get into any of that, let's get a quick word from the sponsor of today's show. We got a little conscious strength.
Big Pharma is officially on notice.
People drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep.
Yeah.
This stuff works, man.
Do you know about methylene blue? Originally synthesized over 100 years ago, we are just finding out about its benefit as a supplement with its ability to help oxygenate the blood and amplify our mitochondria. People all around the world are using methylene blue to accelerate their brain power and support their energy levels. Conscious Strength. Methylene blue is pure USP grade, aqueous solution. Click the link to learn more and shop Conscious Strength now.
I can vouch for that product, guys. I take it every day. Got it right here. Jordan, if you're watching, I could probably use another bottle here soon. Anyway, guys, so yeah, let's talk about this Epstein situation. Axios reported last night, exclusive DOJ FBI conclude Epstein had no client list and died by suicide. And their article formats are so weird, but they do have the memo on here that they posted. Now, people are pointing out some inconsistencies with the memo, which totally valid. Totally valid. Some of the stuff isn't aligned. There's no signature at the end, blah, blah, blah. Two things I want to say just about the document itself. One, actually, maybe it's just one thing I want to say. The links that they're providing here to the videos, they work. Like if you click on the links, you can go to and watch 10 hours, 11 hours of surveillance footage. That to me lends a little credence to them being genuine. They probably got an advanced draft copy or whatever, is what it is. But whether or not this is real, take it with a grain of salt. It's fake news from a fake news organization. Always take it with a grain of salt until we get some sort of confirmation from somebody in the know, like FBI, DOJ, whatever. But what's surprising to me is so many people who are taking this as a genuine thing, which I personally lean that it is going to be what they come out and announce with. And the reason I believe that is because literally 1 month ago, Kash Patel was on the Joe Rogan podcast and pretty much said everything that is in this memo. I'll read the memo and then I'm going to play the clip because we warned you a month ago, essentially, that this is probably going to be a rug pull. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by that. But let's read the memo. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the FBI have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts, where was I? Experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims and did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. I'm saving my commentary for the end, so we'll come back to some of this. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. This includes specific details such as victim names, likenesses, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the DOJ and FBI that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. After a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10, 2019. This conclusion is consistent with previous findings, including the August 19, 2019 autopsy findings of the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, November 19th position of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in connection with the investigation of federal correctional officers responsible for guarding Epstein, and the June 2023 conclusions of the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As DOJ's Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by this footage. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell at around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers in the SHU. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. The full raw and enhanced videos are available at the following links. So that's what was put out by Axios. Again, totally possible that this is not what they end up putting out. Maybe they don't put out anything at all. But I want to remind you guys that this is almost exactly what Kash Patel said on Joe Rogan's podcast a month ago. Okay, take a listen. The Epstein file rug pull, which I think we need to prepare everybody for a potential rug pull, because that is what it's lining up to be based on what Kash Patel said yesterday. Kash Patel was recording with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan asked the question everybody's asking, or everybody's wanted an answer to, is like, are there videos from the island of these elites abusing kids? And Kash Patel basically said, no, you're not gonna get that. It's hard not to listen to what Kash Patel says in this clip and be like, okay, yeah, that we're probably getting another rug here.
The fact that the Epstein stuff started getting hyped by Tucker Carlson and other major elements of the normie sphere a year or two ago makes me think that we are going to get rugged in a major way.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
And is there video from the island?
Not of what you want. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation.
If there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
Yeah, this whole thing is weird. And so, like, why would he come out and contradict Pam Bondi? Did Pam Bondi look through the videos herself? Does she know what's actually on the videos? I don't know. Has Kash Patel looked through these himself? I don't know, but they're the ones reviewing the evidence, and so I feel like he would be the one to have the most. He'd be closest to the true nature of what's on them. And so if whatever the case, he's clearly preparing us for a rug. Like this is not something you'd say unless you're about to rug everybody on something they believe to be true about something for decades. So yeah, guys, I mean, I was texting with Chris a little bit last night, and you know, we feel like we do a pretty good job of preparing our audience for what's actually going on. We have a very well-adjusted audience because you guys are open to stuff like this. Like, hey, a month ago, we're warning you, this is probably going to be a rug pull. And even though at the time when I was like asking these tough questions, I was doing it on the Liberty Den the night before, and I did it on the Power Hour. People in the chat were not happy with us talking about this stuff. But look what we're getting now. If this does turn out to be genuine, it's a rug pull. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying these crimes didn't happen or that elites don't like blackmail people and the Epstein thing isn't necessarily what we thought it was. Because that all could be true. Could be true. We don't know because we haven't seen the evidence of it yet. But I'm not saying these crimes don't happen. I'm saying the way, like the accountability thing that people keep feeding you and feeding the movement, that might not play out the way people expected. And that could be for a whole number of reasons. Like I want justice and accountability as much as the next person. Saying that for years, especially with our election stuff, the kid pedophilia stuff. Like obviously we all want justice and accountability, but we need to be prepared at all times that it may not look the way it should or the way we want it to, especially. Like I keep seeing, or at the time, I guess when we were talking about the rug pull, a lot of comments about like the Q post that these people will not be able to look down or walk down the streets or whatever. And to me, I've said this before, that implies like they have the option to if they wanted, you know what I mean? But they won't be able to because everybody's gonna be pissed at them or whatever. They won't be too embarrassed or unable to show their face in public, meaning their crimes will be exposed, but there won't be any justice for it. We may still get disclosure on this stuff. We don't know. Could the evidence have been destroyed? Probably, if it existed. Could the military have it? Possibly, if it existed. Like that's the thing. We don't even know necessarily, and based on this letter, we may never know what the evidence they actually had. But as long as you leave yourself open to all those possibilities, you will not blackpill. And I think that's the more important part. I said a month ago when I was talking about this stuff, I was like, I'm almost afraid to say it, but we need to be prepared because I'm worried about what might happen to the movement if something like this comes out and it's not what we expected it to be. Because a lot of people put a lot of their eggs into this Epstein basket. Okay, and another thing I want to say here is if this ends up being true, this is not on Trump in any way. And there's a clear distinction here. I know it's Trump's administration, but there was a huge push for declassification at the very beginning of Trump's term. Okay, big push for declassification. Trump came out with that declassification executive order, and it had nothing to do with Epstein. It was RFK, JFK Jr., and MLK Jr. That was it. That was his declassification order. The Epstein stuff came from other people, some of them within his administration, Bondi, Cash, Bongino, a whole bunch of influencers online. That's where the Epstein thing came. Trump had nothing to do with pushing the Epstein thing. He got asked a couple questions on it. He commented, but he wasn't the genesis of that. And we've been critical at Badlands of these Trump administration officials. Like we were going hard on Pam Bondi over the Bindergate thing and all those influencers and everything. And there's a lot of people that were like giving her the benefit of the doubt and like the leeway and all these things like, oh, she's trust the plan. It's part of the plan. It's part of the disclosure op. If this letter is true, then really? Every single one of those people who said that was wrong. But like we got people jumping down our throats for being critical when now like it turns out we are probably right about it. And what does that mean? Like, do you guys see a problem with that? They're just going to move on and forget it. But this is like the final point on this. Then we can kind of talk about the chat a little bit. And yeah, a Badland dude, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Life is hard. It's obviously not easy. Fixing our country, hard, not easy. We're going to have like we're going to have to live through difficult situations. We're going to have difficult conversations, and that's the only way to fix our country, right? And so like when not everything is going to be rainbows and easy. We were warning of a rug pull, even though it was not like the thing people wanted to hear, right? We weren't feeding people's confirmation bias about a topic along the way, from the binder gate to the first batch of Epstein files dropping, promising disclosure and accountability and all this stuff. We want that stuff too, but we don't know if we're going to get it. With the big, beautiful bill, the last couple of weeks, I've been pointing out the bad things in there, like saying the things people didn't want to hear because, they just wanted to do what Trump wanted to do. Then after this weekend on the DPH, we talked about impoundments, and I'm a little less upset about what's in the bill if Trump actually uses the impoundment stuff, which if you go back to his Agenda 47, maybe I'll play that clip here in a little bit. Again, saying things that you guys didn't want to hear, but it was still truth. It was facts. And that's like, that's one of our core principles at Badlands. Like, we're never going to intentionally mislead you. We're going to do our best to always speak the truth. We may be wrong. Like, we can get misled too, or we maybe just be wrong about how we're interpreting things and speculating about things, whatever. But we're never going to intentionally lie to you. We're never going to just feed you hopium. And the reality is, truth sometimes is difficult to hear. There are a lot of other influences out there who will feed you hopium and positivity and unity, and they'll cheerlead about everything, and everything's always right in the world. But then if that's where you're getting your information from, you get to a moment like this where it's very possible and seems likely, considering this memo matches up with exactly what Kash Patel said a month ago on Joe Rogan, that something is not going to play out the way that people wanted it to, and we're told it was going to. And all I'm seeing on social media the last 12 hours is dooming and blackpilling and people turning on Trump and all these things. And so why is that? If you're actually using your critical thinking and leaving yourself open to all these other possibilities, you should never have to go through the black pill moment. I'm not blackpilling. I was expecting the rug. Like, fully expecting it. So this is just like another checklist item. Okay, rug on that, rug on that. And again, I'm not saying at all that the crimes that people think happened here weren't happening. It's very possible they were. And I would say likely. It's likely they were, although we haven't seen the blackmail list evidence of it or whatever. Maybe it is out there. I don't know. But I anticipated, and especially after Kash Patel said it was going to play out this way, that this is exactly how it would play out. And so I'm not blackpilling. I didn't get rugged. But if you got rugged, you have been feeding your confirmation bias too much. You're not challenging yourself enough. So, I mean, we'll see. I do expect the FBI at some point, even with all this backlash, to come out and basically confirm what we just saw, because they already confirmed it a month ago. Kash Patel already confirmed this ahead of time. Kind of is what it is. Maybe down the road we'll see some sort of disclosure on this stuff. Maybe there is some sort of bigger RICO case going on. But then again, if that's the case, like, why it's the DOJ and the FBI and all these other influencers, but they're the ones that are continue to bring this to the forefront. They didn't have to. Pam Bondi didn't have to go on Jesse Waters that one day and talk about disclosing all the Epstein files. It's their fault. And yeah, maybe we do need to have like some more further conversations with ourselves about the reality of some of these situations. There's just so much that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And being a guy who fully believes there's something bigger going on behind the scenes, wrote the Devolution series. Again, Trump is the only one I give the benefit of the doubt to, but believing that but not being part of it, not having access to what that plan is, you are doing yourself a disservice if you're not leaving yourself open to a whole spectrum, a smorgasbord of possibilities, both from very negative to super awesome. Then as things play out, you just adjust accordingly, but nothing affects you emotionally because you're prepared for it. This is one of those teachable moments in the info war. Oh, I'll check the chat and see if you guys are mad at me. FBI destroyed the evidence years ago. Yeah, that's like seems very plausible. Most likely situation. If the evidence existed and those people had power and control before Trump got in, it makes sense they would destroy it. It was stupid of her to say it was on her desk. I think I have that clip. I do have a clip of Alina Hobb. It just makes you wonder why these people would go out and say this stuff. Here's Alina Hobb. And this is what's so. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, she'll come out and say this stuff, and it'll go viral, and everybody will be like, "Oh my God, this is so awesome! We're finally going to see stuff." That's cheerleading, and that's you getting excited about something, feeding your confirmation bias. And I do it too, guys. I fall victim to it too. Like just the other day when Trump was at a speech and said, you know, Biden administration wanted to shut down Space Force, but the military wouldn't let him. There's a whole host of different interpretations you could take from that. It was a short one sentence thing he said, and I didn't provide any context for it, but I shared the clip and I was like, look at this. That was me feeding my confirmation bias. I do it too. I'm not perfect at it by no means. But when it comes to stuff like this is such an emotionally charged subject. It's I fear people are gonna black pill over it once it's confirmed. And that's another thing. Like so many people are like trying to question the memo and all these things. Like, oh, there's no way, there's no signature. And yeah, they're making points on it. But again, going back to the Kash Patel interview, it's no different than what he said in the interview. I don't know why people are like focusing on that so much. A month ago, we already knew this was going to be the case. But anyway, this is what Alina Hobb had to say.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Kash and Pam, there will be accountability. But
doesn't seem like it. And what if Kash was being true though? Like, honest guys, if you go back and listen to the Joe Rogan interview, which I'd encourage you guys to do, because if you go back and listen to it, again, when I was saying at the time and trying to prepare you guys for this, most of the people I would assume didn't listen to the whole thing and get the full context of it. So there's like a 30-minute segment in there just about the Epstein files. And I listened to it like 1.5 times. One time like on normal regular speed, another time like 1.5 speed, just to make sure I interpreted that right before I started talking about it, because I knew it was going to be such a sensitive subject. But it's very difficult to listen to that interview and come away with any other interpretation than we are not going to get what a lot of influencers in the movement said we were going to get out of the Epstein file reveal. That it was going to be a rug. And so going back and listening to it in the context of this memo coming out, I think would be a good therapeutic thing for many people to do. He told us a month ago. It just is what it is. I don't know what else to say on it. Ash in the chat says, you're watching a movie. Also, I can't believe the characters would lie to me. It's very true. Quantum, only to you, John. Emotionally upsetting you. It's part of the script. I literally just said I'm not emotionally upset about this at all. I'm concerned about the movement being emotionally upset and blackpilling. Ghost says, my guess is that all this has to do with Israelis' ironclad grip over DC. The timing on the evening before Netanyahu visit is probably notable. Very well could be. I mean, that's a real thing too. How much we'll get disclosure on that, I have no idea. But again, the timing of the Epstein stuff had nothing to do with Trump. Rocky Top apologist with a $10 rant. Obviously, or at least I'd hope that all would be relieved to find the Epstein thing was false, or at least overblown, if it means no actual victims. But we have our doubts about that. They did say, there's thousands of victims. And, she was charged, Ghislaine Maxwell was charged with trafficking. Like they were trafficking to somebody, right? Epstein, if you another good thing to do, if you have the time, is to go read the OIG review. I mean, it's government documents. I know they're boring, and some of the stuff you can take with a grain of salt too. But like the timeline of things in there, he attempted to commit suicide in end of July, and then they got him a new cellmate. He meets with his attorneys on the 8th, updates his will. On the 9th, he gets a phone call or something, like a personal phone call, and then like the next day he kills himself alone in a cell. That's like the story. But it's hard to read that and be like, he didn't kill himself. He probably did. To me, it's just as likely that he killed himself as it is he got murdered. And the evidence, I mean, the video, I know it's not great, but it's there. These two are not his cell. I think his cell is like underneath this camera, but these are the stairs like getting up to that location. And so like they were saying, anybody would coming to the cell would have to like go up these stairs and they'd catch them on camera. But it's all here. It's many hours of it. And you can go watch it all. And this link is in the memo that was posted on Document Cloud. So yeah, here's what it is, guys. Let's see if there's any. Gran Baker says, anyone taking the Axios thing as true needs to wait for confirmation. Totally understand that. You want to wait the 72-hour rule with anything. But again, what it says in this memo is basically the same thing Kash Patel said on Joe Rogan a month ago. Sonny Ray, disinformation is necessary. John, you're the one blackmailing. That's retarded. What you just said is retarded. I'm not blackpilling. No, I don't remember the last time I blackpilled, other than like the last time I truly went through like a black pill moment was Trump actually losing the election in 2020 and walking away. Like the first one was him being declared the loser, and then second time walking away. That's what sparked me writing the Devolution series. Ever since then, I haven't really had an actual black pill moment. I get upset about certain things, but this is not one of them. I was expecting this to play out this way. Axios doubled down today. Yes, they did. Big Craig 01. Pam, Cash, and Dan's credibility is going down the toilet. I hope they realize that. That's one way to look at it for sure. They were out there ahead of time, especially Dan and Cash, like doing interviews and on Dan's show, talking about this thing, like a government cover up here and Epstein's list and all these things coming out. Totally get it. If they weren't in office right now, they would be online and on social media and on their shows saying how the government is lying to us, which is that's very possible the case too. Very possible. It's also possible that they are being honest based on the information they have. We don't know because we don't get to see it. And that's the rug, is it's not playing out with the justice and accountability we were promised by the people in power. That's the rug. But at least DC Drano got a binder. So good for him. Fuck that guy. Swear jar. Okay, let's move on to some other news. Let me see what I got. No update on the Doge website. No update on the presidential White House website. A couple Truth Social posts though that we can go through. Trump talks a little bit about Elon Musk. That was a big story from the weekend. Elon Musk started his own political party, or at least did a poll on Twitter and said he was going to start one. This is what Trump said about it. I'm saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. The one thing that third parties are good for is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with the radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence and their minds. Republicans, on the other hand, are a smooth running machine that just passed the biggest bill of its kind in the history of our country. It is a great bill, but unfortunately for Elon, it eliminates the ridiculous electric vehicle mandate, which would have forced everyone to buy an electric car in a short period of time. I've been strongly opposed to that from the very beginning. People are now allowed to buy whatever they want. Gasoline-powered hybrids, which are doing very well, or new technologies as they come about. No more EV mandate. I wonder what new technologies he could be talking about. I've campaigned on this for 2 years, and quite honestly, when Elon gave me his total and unquestioned endorsement, I asked him whether or not he knew that I was going to terminate the EV mandate. It was in every speech I made and in every conversation I had. He said he had no problems with that. I was very surprised. Additionally, Elon asked that one of his close friends run NASA, and while I thought his friend was very good, I was surprised to learn that he was a blue-blooded Democrat who had never contributed to a Republican before. Elon probably was also. I also thought it inappropriate that a very close friend of Elon, who was in the space business, run NASA when NASA is such a big part of Elon's corporate life. My number one charge is to protect the American public. This could all be kayfabe. It's probably likely kayfabe. It could all be real too. Open to the possibilities that Trump was drafting off of Elon, and now there's a schism. But anybody pretending that adding another political party to a broken system will somehow fix that system is lying to you. And if it is kayfabe, guys, when you comment about like, no, adding a third party is not going to fix the system is broken, and they just say like, oh, it's kayfabe, don't you understand? What's the point of the kayfabe then? They're doing it so people call it out, obviously. Donald Trump again. Any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. There will be no exceptions to this policy. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this is a serious one. He thanked us for his attention, for our attention. I love that 10% tariffs. He is, you know, we speculate about BRICS. It's kind of like the sovereign alliance arm of things we're speculating about going on. I think I've even said in the past. I know I've said in the past, like, watch Trump leave NATO and join BRICS, because I think that'd be hilarious. But if Trump's goal is to keep the dollar, the world reserve currency, and continue to operate in the existing mainstream narrative for the normies, then this move makes sense. And Trump at every turn so far has kind of shown he's going to operate that way. So this makes sense in terms of keeping the dollar as the world reserve currency. And then this from Trump, this is the last one I'll share of his, and got some other stories to go through. Brazil is doing a terrible thing on their treatment of former President Jair Bolsonaro. He's the Trump of the tropics. I have watched, as has the world, as they've done nothing but come after him day after day, night after night, month after month, year after year. He is not guilty of anything except having fought for the people. I have gotten to know Jair, and he was a strong leader who truly loved his country. Also a very tough negotiator on trade. This almost sounds like an obituary. He was a strong leader who truly loved, both those past tense, his country. His election was very close, and now he's leading the polls. This is nothing more or less than an attack on a political opponent, something I know much about. It happened to me times 10, and our country is the hottest in the world. He's a big fan of calling everything the hottest now. Like, the United States is just the hottest. The great people of Brazil will not stand for what they are doing to their former president. I'll be watching the witch hunt of Jair, his family, and thousands of his supporters very closely. The only trial that should be happening is a trial by the voters of Brazil. It's called an election. Leave Bolsonaro alone. Yeah, guys. Let the people speak in a fake election. I'm almost scared to check the chat today. Just reading to see if there's anything in the chat that I should be aware of. Rocky Top Apologist, another $10 rant, says, in 2021, crazy, term of endearment, Lynn Wood, who is on the Devolution series album cover, said that Epstein is still alive. Why don't y'all do a basis conspiracies about Tomotley? Yeah, by the way, the person who designed that cover thing was Chris Paul, way back in the day, before we were like, I think that was even before, or maybe after I had him on for an interview once. I think it was Chris Paul anyway. He's the one who sent it to me. Maybe somebody else sent it to him and he sent it to me. But I never like followed Lynn Wood or really knew anything about him. What else we got here? Oh, this is. I'm sure everybody saw the Texas flooding. I mean, insane. The river rose. The Guadalupe River rose more than 20 feet in less than 2 hours. At least 89 people have died. There's 27 campers and counselors who died at Camp Mystic. 10 campers and 1 counselor still unaccounted for. The craziest part to me, the stuff that I'm seeing online, and I need to do a little more research into this. We've done a Baseless Conspiracies episode on the cloud seeding and weather manipulation. It appears that like there was cloud seeding going on in the general area in the days leading up to this. Now, like they're claiming, the people who were doing it, that, oh, we stopped like well within 24 hours and the clouds dissipated, all these things. But yeah, that's kind of nuts, because that's like a very public conversation being had right now. And I find that quite interesting. But obviously, tragic loss of life here. Prayers to the families, and the victims. Can't imagine. Cannot imagine. Oh man, I was gonna have to get to the archive link of this. I don't really have much to say on it other than it's kind of comical, because it's a story about Democrats wanting to win elections, and so in order to do so, they're trying to retreat on their climate change narrative and talking point. Democrats retreat on climate. It's one of the more disappointing turnabouts. A changing political climate has California Democrats recalibrating on climate policies because they're fake and nobody believes them. I did want to talk about this briefly. So on Saturday's Power Hour, having to do with the big, beautiful bill, we were just having the discussion, and Chris started bringing up impoundments and rescissions, and we kind of did a live dig on impoundments. Went back and found an old video, and I'm going to play this right now, actually, because it's spot on. This is what I think is going to happen here. Trump is going to bring back the Impoundment Act, and doing so is how he's going to get rid of all the bullshit in the bill, because there is a lot of bullshit in that bill, guys. I've been saying it. It exists. Trump got what he wanted out of it. He let the Senate, the House do their thing and add all the other BS in there, and this is how he gets rid of it. It's the Impoundment Act.
For 200 years under our system of government, it was undisputed that the president had the constitutional power to stop unnecessary spending through what is known as impoundment. Very simply, this meant that if Congress provided more funding than was needed to run the government, the president could refuse to waste the extra funds and instead return the money to the general treasury and maybe even lower your taxes. Thomas Jefferson famously used this power, as did many other presidents, until it was wrongfully curtailed by the Impoundment Control Act of 1974. Not a very good act. This disaster of a law is clearly unconstitutional, a blatant violation of the separation of powers. When I return to the White House, I will do everything I can to challenge the Impoundment Control Act in court, and if necessary, get Congress to overturn it. We will overturn it. Reasserting the president's historic impoundment authority will also restore critical negotiating leverage with Congress to keep spending under control. Very simple. We're going to keep spending under control. This is the only way we will ever return a balanced budget. Impoundment. Just as importantly, bringing back impoundment will give us a crucial tool with which to obliterate the deep state, drain the swamp, and starve the warmongers, these people that want wars all over the place. With impoundment, we can simply choke off the money. This policy is anti-inflation, anti-swamp, anti-globalist, and it's pro-growth, pro-taxpayer, pro-American, and pro-freedom. I alone can get that done. I'll get it done, and I'll make America great again. Thank you very much.
It's kind of amazing how Trump has, along the way, if you go back and look at a lot of his Agenda 47 videos, he kind of signaled exactly how he's going to handle some of these things. And it was my own fault, it's not that I wasn't justified in my concern about what was in the bill, because I think I have valid concerns, especially if Trump uses this impoundment stuff to get rid of it, right? I mean, because if he doesn't spend it and chooses not to spend it because it shouldn't be in there in the first place, and it's a waste of money, then we're right for calling that stuff out. But for not having like dug deeper into his solution and why he was like so willy-nilly about like, let's just pass the thing. Let's just go. It's going to be awesome. Because his part of it is awesome. The rest of it sucks. But this is it. This appears to be the signal. Bannon was talking about it. Russ Vought was talking about it. And Trump signaled he was going to do this back in this video is from, I think, June of 2023. Yep. June 20th, 2023. And I'm looking forward to seeing him actually implement it. But anyway, back to the story here, because this is what's next for our illegitimate Congress. Republicans finally got their big, beautiful bill across the finish line. Now they're turning to their next urgent tasks, codifying billions in spending cuts and avoiding a government shutdown, which I'm kind of excited the government shutdown's on the table. And, you know, I'll be the first to admit, I don't understand fully the congressional process, because I thought we had to pass this last thing to avoid the government shutdown. But that's the budget. This is the actual spending of the stuff. It's designed that way to be confusing. You have a vote to have a vote to have the actual vote, a rule vote for a process vote for a roll call vote to let's actually vote on the thing. And each one has a different number. Oh, it's so stupid. The way it's set up is so stupid. But anyway, the Senate plans to vote no earlier than next week. The Senate plans to vote no earlier than next week on President Donald Trump's request for lawmakers to scrap $9.4 billion in previously approved funding for NPR, PBS, and foreign aid, according to two people granted anonymity to discuss the plans. So it's probably bullshit. That's running dangerously close to lawmakers' July 18 deadline to vote in favor of the rescissions package, or the administration will be forced to spend the money as Congress originally intended. The GOP, I'm going to skip that. Looming over the rescissions talks is appropriations. Senators will Thursday begin marking up their first batch of spending bills necessary to fund the government beyond the end of the current fiscal year. On September 30th, leaders are under immense pressure to allow votes on individual measures rather than seek to avert a shutdown with a massive omnibus. Can't wait for the massive omnibus to come out. But yeah, so that's where we're at. That's the update. Ash says there's always a shutdown threat. We need to call her buff. We all survived the 2018 shutdown, and it didn't really feel like anything changed during the shutdown. So, yeah, obviously ridiculous. But we'll see what happens. Little Scott Besson clip. Scott Besson says Trump administration teases more trade deals, but shifting tariff deadlines raise new questions. Treasury Secretary Scott Besson on Monday said the Trump administration will make several trade-related announcements in the next 48 hours, signaling imminent progress, even as U.S. tariff deadlines appear to be shifting. I might have a clip on this. Yeah, we'll watch this.
We are going to have several announcements in the next 48 hours. And, Joe, I think what President Trump is concerned about is the quality of the deals, not the quantity. As you could imagine, as he started herding the cats and trying to get everyone across the finish line, when he said that there's a chance that countries could boomerang back to their April 2nd reciprocal tariff levels, we've had a lot of people change their tune in terms of negotiations. So my mailbox was full last night with a lot of new offers, a lot of new proposals. So it's going to be a busy couple of days. But importantly, too, that President Trump has said that the countries would not go back to the reciprocal rate until August 1st. We are going.
So there's that. We have this coming out this morning on Trump's Truth Social. He sent letters to Japan telling them what their tariff deal is. Trade deficits are endangered by Japan's tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers. Our relationship has been unfortunately far from reciprocal. Starting on August 1st, we will charge Japan a tariff of 25% on any and all Japanese products sent to the United States, separate from all sectoral tariffs. Please understand that the 25% number is far less than what is needed to eliminate the trade deficit disparity. Same thing with Korea. Same thing, 25%. And back to this story, I think there was... speaking on CNBC's Squawk Box, Besson declined yet again to rule out the possibility that he could serve as the next chair of the Federal Reserve. I think he'd be good fit for that role. I like Bessent. Bessent said foreign trade officials are rushing to make deals with the United States before July 9th, blah, blah, blah. I think I already got all that. His remarks come one day after Trump said his administration could send as many as 15 letters to U.S. trade partners between Monday and Wednesday, dictating new tariff rates. I'm excited to see what the rates are and how they, who they're with and how they play out. The tariff income, the Department of, or the External Revenue Service is something many people have been looking forward to, myself included. Anyway, Rep. Mark Green has resigned from Congress, leaving Speaker Johnson with an even narrower Republican majority in the House. Buzz through a couple more stories here, and then gotta go check on my kids. Trump Justice Department seeks to back Wyoming's voter citizenship law in federal court. The Trump DOJ, has moved to file a legal brief in support of Wyoming's new voter registration law that took effect last week, which requires proof of citizenship. By the way, that reminds me, Ash in the chat pointed out that she has source for the cloud seeding story in today's news brief, which if you go to badlands.substack.com, our Substack, you can sign up for that for free, by the way. You could also sign up and support us. That's a great way, subscribe monthly. It's a great way to support Badlands Media, but you can also get it for free. And they go through a lot of great stories every day. Plus we have featured articles. I don't talk about that enough. We have a great Substack and some great contributors over there. So I'd encourage you to go subscribe for free and check out the daily for the cloud seeding stuff. But yeah, good news to see any sort of movement or action on the election front. The DOJ, I already did that story. I started the show with that story. So if you missed the part where I was talking about the whole Epstein situation, go rewatch the beginning of this episode because that's when I got into it. Trump proposes farmer-led immigration exemption for longtime immigrant workers. I just wanted to point this out because, as I said on Saturday, this is Trump saying, if you like your illegal immigrant, you can keep your illegal immigrant. And I think it's hilarious. Hamas responds to U.S. brokered ceasefire proposal. Hamas announced Friday that it had delivered a positive response to a U.S. brokered proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza, signaling a potential breakthrough after months of stalled efforts. Tomorrow will be Ghost's geopolitical show. I'd encourage you guys to watch that for the full details of that story. And with that, that's all I got. So I know Y-Chrome's is going on right now. I'll send you over there after I play the outro and stuff. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Tonight on Basis Conspiracies, we are having Nick No on again, I believe, for part 2 of that. So make sure you guys tune in to that show. Should be a good one. It's 10:30 p.m. Eastern right here on Badlands. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Make sure you tag me or DM me on Twitter or email with any thoughts or questions or comments or stories you think I should be covering. I appreciate that. You guys have a great rest of your Monday. See you next time. Oh, by the way, I'm going to play this first. Get your Deadwood tickets if you haven't yet. We are getting closer and closer to the deadline for us ordering the meals. So make sure you get on that. Oops.
Coming August 14th to 17th, Badlands Media returns to Deadwood, South Dakota for the 9th stop of the Great American Restoration Tour. Come for family, friends, fun, and a f***ing good time. Hear truth bombs that hit harder than B2s on an Iran nuke site from Burning Bright, Chris Paul, CanCon, Red Pill 78, Brad Nabby, Ash, Ghost, Jordan Sather, John Herold, whoever that is, and more. Plus, Alpha might make you a sandwich. Deadwood is a gorgeous town in the middle of the Black Hills of South Dakota. If you've never been, you need to see it. Plus, you might be lucky enough to witness some terrible karaoke from your favorite Badlanders. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/events for weekend or one-day tickets. And if you can't make it in person, virtual tickets are available too. Watch from the comfort of your couch with tons of behind-the-scenes content and get access to an exclusive Guard chat. That's badlandsmedia.tv/events. Be there or be there online. It'll be recorded.
Extra, extra, read all about it. 2, 3. Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.